guys, so I just sat down, I tied up my hair, I grabbed the mask. I'm gonna be real with you, this mask is definitely older. I'm curious if there's any actual like moisture still in here. I don't know, other masks you grab and you kind of slush it around. This one, I am not feeling that. It's a hydrating sheet mask with sage. Instantly moisturize and improve skin texture, 99% natural, and it's by Burt's Bees, which I really love. This is why I say all the time I need to start masking more than just Mondays. And I did really good. I did a whole like week of mask madness, and then since then I've only been doing Mondays again. But work is finally slowing down. If you guys been watching my videos, I told you how I had lots of back-to-back meetings in February and March, and finally things are slowing down a little bit. So tomorrow I put in the grades are due for term 3. And then after that, I can kind of breathe a little bit. I only have one meeting in May, one meeting in June. So we have faculty meetings still. Like I have those like 2 a month, but I'm talking about like, bigger meetings. All right. So this actually is still wet. I don't know if it was like this when I first got it or if it's not as wet anymore. It definitely is not as wet as most of my masks usually are, but maybe that's just a Burt's Bees thing because I've never used a Burt's Bees mask before. You guys let me know if you have. Usually the ones I use too are like thinner. This one's kind of thicker. I kind of like it, to be honest with you, but it's definitely not as moist. All right, and especially because it's a hydrating mask makes me wonder, because I feel like the ones that say hydrating usually have even more serum than usual. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna fly away a little bit, just because I feel like when it has more serum, it like sticks to the skin. And this one doesn't really want to stick to my skin. But this is part 2. If you guys watched last week, it was part 1. It was 25 get to know me questions. I had 50 altogether. I told you I was going to do 25 one video, 25 the next. Charmaine did these the last 2 Mask Mondays. I'll link her down below. And she got the questions from Erica Conjure and Alice. I think it's I Love Being a Grammy. So like I said, I will link them all down below. Definitely go check out their videos. But anyway, question 1. Sunrise or sunset? And I would say I'm more of a sunrise person, but if I am awake, I will enjoy the sunrise, but I'm not someone who will wake up for it. Not this year prior, so 2 years ago, I actually woke up on my birthday in the middle of the night. I woke up at like 3, 4 in the morning, and I could not fall asleep. I don't know why. Maybe it was just excitement. So I woke up. I woke Joe up. I waited till it hit about 5. And then I woke Joe up and I said, Joe, let's take advantage. Let's go do the beach at sunrise. And me and him, we ran to McDonald's. We got Egg McMuffin sandwiches and hash browns. And we went to the beach and we didn't have to pay anything because there was like no parking attendant there. And we enjoyed the beach until 9. It was so nice. Nobody was there. And then we left because that's when the crowd hit. And not that I don't mind. I'll do the beach during a crowd. I mean, I prefer a crowdless. But we had like other plans on my birthday. But we got to take advantage and do the beach for a little bit for free and enjoy the sunrise. Either is beautiful, but I definitely do more sunset than sunrise. Favorite song of all time? I love Cher. I'm obsessed with Cher. I think because I grew up listening to her. My mom's a big Cher fan. My mom literally had a CD and it was Best of Cher. And I loved it so much. She made a copy for me. And 2 of my favorite songs on there, well, I'll say 3, is Take Back Time. I don't know if that's the title, to be honest with you. I suck with song titles. But you know the song, Take That Time. I think so, right? I don't even know. And then I love Half Breed. So good. And then I love Dark Lady. Like, her songs have a story. I feel like it's different compared to nowadays music, for sure. Like, literally, I actually, like, know the lyrics. I actually, like, listen. There's, like, a beginning, a middle, and end. You know what I mean? Like, where I feel like now it's just, like, catchy chorus and random lyrics for the most part. I love Cher. So, yeah, those are, like, she's my favorite singer of all time. And those are definitely some of my favorite songs. Whenever I do karaoke, she's the songs I pick. I usually pick Dark Lady or Half Breed. Most annoying sound in the world. Probably the alarms at the school. I don't mind the bells. Obviously, we hear that every day. I kind of like oblivious to it at this point now. But the fire alarm and the Alice alarm, which stands for when there's an intruder, and they can be very scary. That is for sure. We have a drill that we're doing when we go back after April vacation that I have to prepare for because I've never done that before, so I'm not sure what the protocol is. Even like thinking about it, it's scary. Bravest thing I've ever done for me, getting my license. And I know that might not sound super brave to some people because most people get their license when they're 16 years old. But for me, this cough will not leave me, guys. Anyway, for me, it was very, very brave getting my license. I am a very anxious driver. I didn't get my license till I was 26, and that was with the help of Joe. He was very patient, very kind, and let me take my car, take his car, to practice, and then I eventually went on road lessons. That was something I literally thought I would never accomplish. There was a long, long time where I was so mad at myself. Said, why did I get my college degree? I felt almost like stuck. As much as I loved my first job, until you guys time I worked for a family business, I felt like stuck there just because it was convenient, because it was down the street from where I lived and I could walk. And I was blessed to have it at the time, but I was ready for more, and it finally pushed myself, and I got my license. Another brave thing for me was college too. Like, I'm the first person in my family to graduate high school. Never mind go to college. And like my immediate family, of course, I've had cousins and stuff graduate that are older than me, but neither of my parents graduated high school. But I am one of the first people in my family to go to college. One of my other cousins went for like a trade, and she does have like a certificate. But I am like the only one that has my college degree, and I had to do it all on my own. Like, my parents are very helpful. I didn't drive. They drove me to and from my college campus, which was like about a half hour away. But they couldn't really help me with a lot of things because they didn't know. Like, I had to figure out how to apply for scholarships, how to apply for financial aid, how to apply for the schools, pay the application fees. It was a learning curve. It was, because like I said, my parents couldn't really help me with that because they never did it for themselves. That was very brave for me, honestly. And there was a lot of times it took me 5 years to get my degree because I took a short leave of absence after my mom had her heart attack. Because I wanted to be with her and make sure she was okay. And I was struggling too. I wasn't sure. I was debating on switching majors. So it was kind of all like good timing. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a leave of absence, be with my mom for a little bit while she recovers, and then I'll figure out what I want to do and go back. And part of me was really scared. I thought I wouldn't push myself to go back. And I'm glad I did, because it led me to the great career I have now. It's scary going to college when you don't really have anyone in the family who's done it, and when you don't want to know what you want to do, you're like, oh my God, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my money? But a degree is never a waste. It's always a stepping stone. Even if you end up getting a totally different job from your degree, just having it already gives you a higher pay raise. It gives you experience, honestly. Like, I remember there's a friend of mine was friends with somebody who did interviews for her job. And she specifically said, even if the degree was in a totally different subject than what that job needed, that person already had a higher advantage of getting the job. They already had a leg up versus someone who didn't have a degree, because someone who has a degree shows commitment. It shows that they're willing to work hard and they're willing to show up. And that's what, obviously that looks good applying for jobs, because that's what jobs is. You're committing yourself to that line of work, you know what I mean, to that 9 to 5 or whatever shift it is. So I'm glad I did it. But it was really, really difficult, and there was many times where I thought about dropping out, thought about quitting, thought about dropping out, but I prevailed, and I'm really proud of myself. It is one of my biggest accomplishments. I cried on my graduation day. I cried crossing the stage. My godparents were there. My parents were there. It was a momentous day. This mask, yeah, it is definitely like drier than it's supposed to be. Any living grandparents? I have both my grandmothers are still living. Neither of my grandfathers are still living. Hold on one second. And if you guys don't know this, my father is from Portugal. So he his mother, my grandmother, lives in Portugal, so I don't see her as often. His father passed. He lived in Portugal. That was the last time my dad went to Portugal. It was in 2009 because he was passing away, and we could only afford to send just my dad. So my dad went to go to see him one last time and pay his respects. My grandfather here, I was extremely close to. I lived above him. They have a 3 tenement home. It's still the home that my grandmother lives in. Tell you guys all the time, she has dementia, but she's never really alone because my mother lives right above her, and then we have like a cousin that lives on the 3rd floor. So my grandparents lived below me majority of my life. And my grandfather loved music. I would always hear his radio, or I would hear him whistling. It got really quiet afterwards. It's like, even though we didn't live in the same apartment, he was definitely part of my everyday life. That was one of the biggest losses. That was like the first loss in my life. And then I've lost some people I've cared about since then, but that was definitely the first one, and a very, very hard one. But yeah, both my grandmothers are still living. I'm sorry guys, I'm getting text messages, and that's where my questions are, in the text messages. So now I have to scroll up and find them again because Charmaine sent them to me. Okay. Let's see. Ever been in a play? Yes, actually, in middle school, I was in a play. It was Romeo and Juliet, and I was just like an extra, nothing like crazy. That was the part that was given to me, because if not, I don't know if I would have done Juliet, but I would have been cool having a part with more lines. I always like loved stuff like that. Like, even nowadays, like, you guys, I did one of my first vlogs here on my channel. It was like May of last year, was Angel seeing a play. That was one of the last things I did before COVID. I'll never forget. Me and Joe went to go see How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2019, December, like right before everything happened. I love that kind of stuff. First heartbreak. My boyfriend of 4 years. It was like the year before I met Joe. Now I think about it and laugh. We're actually still really good friends. And I think about it and laugh, and I said, he wasn't even like worth my time. Like, obviously I'm still friends with him. He's a good person, but he wasn't a good boyfriend. We say all the time, we are way better as friends. He had a lot of like mental health issues. He needed to take care of himself. So it was a very amicable breakup, but I was like, I really thought I was going to like die alone. Like, and I found Joe a year later, and I've never looked back. My biggest regret. I don't really have regrets. Like, sometimes I think I wish I got my license sooner. But if I got my license sooner, I might have not met Joe, because I met Joe at my old job. And if I got my license sooner, I wouldn't have been working there, and I wouldn't have met him. So I try not to have regrets. Like, that's the only thing I could think of, but everything happens for a reason. And if I had got my license sooner, I wouldn't have met him. So I try not to think. Everything happens for a reason, and it's the way it's supposed to be. Let me know what you guys think about that. My favorite ice cream flavor, chocolate, peanut butter mixed together. I love like Hunka Chunka peanut butter fudge from Friendly's. Anytime I go to any ice cream shop, I always do like a combination of chocolate with peanut butter. My absolute favorite. Best advice you've been given? Stay in school. I don't know, honestly. Not that I'm trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm the one that usually gives the advice. It's always been like that. Like, originally when I went to school, I wanted to be a psychologist. I think I'm someone who's a very good listener. And I'm good at like not interrupting people, hearing the full story, and then giving like an unbiased opinion back. I always like to see things from both sides, play devil's advocate. Even if it's someone who's a friend, I'm not going to automatically take their side. I'm going to be like, all right, well, this is what I see it as, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I can't really think of any advice right now. I mean, my mom has given me great advice throughout the years. I don't think one particular thing is sticking out, but she's always been very like, let it go, because I can like hold on to grudges sometimes. So I'm still working on that. But yeah, I guess that would be it. Do I believe in ghosts? Yes. Do I believe they haunt you? I don't know. I've never, thank God, had any situations like that. But I do believe sometimes that, like your loved ones will leave signs for you. When my grandfather passed, I actually inherited his car. That's what I mean. Like, everything happens at the perfect time. And I don't want to say perfect, because obviously I didn't want him to pass. But when he passed, I had just got my license. So it was perfect timing, because I was the only one who needed a car. My cousins were all older. They already had cars, nicer cars. No one wanted, he had like a little beat up 1990 something. and it didn't even exist anymore. It's called a Plymouth Breeze, if you guys want to look it up. And they were like, Taylor, perfect, you just got your license. They're like, why don't you take the car? And it'll be your first car, like a practice car. And I had it for about a year before I shit the bed. And it was good because I did end up knocking off the mirror. You know, you hit a pole. A new driver. It happens. But at least it wasn't like a car I paid for out of pocket. And it was nice because it was like gifted to me. I didn't even have to pay the sales tax. When I went to the RMV, I just had to pay to register it, and that was it. I just had to have a form that said that, you know, I had to have his death certificate and a form that said my grandmother was gifting me the car. So it was really nice because new drivers, car insurance is wicked expensive. So it was nice that I didn't have to give myself a car payment or something like that. So what was it? Anyway, back to the original story. Do I believe in ghosts? And all I was going to say was sometimes I really felt his spirit in that car, because you guys know I was an anxious driver, especially that whole first year. Now I'm a little more comfortable, but I felt almost safer being in his car. Like I felt like he was there with me. I even had his rosary hanging from the rearview mirror. So yes, I do believe in ghosts. Best and worst phase in life. My worst phase, I don't know, like middle school. I hated middle school. I was teased a bunch. It was awful. My best phase, I really, really, really loved high school. I was kind of went into it and I was like an anxious mess, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get made fun of again. And no, my high school was a great experience. I went to a vocational school. So we did 2 weeks of learning a trade and 2 weeks of academics, and I actually took dental assisting. And I think because of that, there was no cliques. It wasn't like cheerleaders, jocks, geeks, nerds. It was more like the dental kids, the health assisting kids, the machine shop kids. So in my shop, we would have like the cheerleader, but we would also have the nerd. And we were always together because we were the dental kids. We had to be together because that's how it was. We took dental shop together. And then when we were in academics, we took anatomy and physiology because that tied with dental. Like we were all in the same classes basically. And I enjoyed high school. I did the Europe trip my senior year. That is memories that will last me a lifetime. I hated college. So middle school and college. Middle school because I was being teased. Like that's understandable. High school was just college was just awful for me. It was hard. I didn't drive, so I had to get rides from my mom. I rammed all my classes into 2 days. So I only went to on campus Tuesday and Thursday. I started at 8 a.m. and I wasn't done until 6 p.m. I had to take all 5 classes right in a row with no breaks. So most people love college because they think of the parties and fraternities and sororities and the games. And I didn't do any of that. I had all of the work and none of the fun. Because the way my schedule was, because I didn't drive, because I wasn't on campus that often, I never really met anybody at my college. I literally don't have, I have one college friend, and she is 15 years older than me. She was going back to school. So she was in her 30s then. This was like 10 years ago. So now she's in her 40s. So obviously it wasn't like a traditional like college friendship, and she's the only person I still talk to. So yeah, but I got what I needed out of it. I got my degree and it's over and done with. But that's why sometimes when I think about going back for my master's, I'm like miserable. But I have to remember it's going to be different. It's all online. You know, it's not going to be the way it was for me to get my bachelor's. Top 5 fave books of all time. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is one of my absolute faves. It's what got me out of my reading rut. I stopped reading for a very long time, and then I read that January of 2022, and boom, I've been reading ever since. I also love the whole Good Girls Guide series. That's 3 books, but you can count that as 1 if you want. That's what really got me into thrillers. Guys, I love One of Us is Lying. I think I'm going to love One of Us is Next. So I'm literally going to count that whole series already. That'll be my 3rd. I love Flowers in the Attic. It is an old movie. I don't know if it's from the 80s or 90s. But it's actually a book. It's actually an entire series. There's like 7 books. And I read them all and loved them. I love Flowers in the Attic. That's 4. What would be my 5th book? I love, honestly, Colleen Hoover. It starts with us, it ends with us, November 9th. There's not a book I haven't read by her that I don't absolutely love. So those are like my top 5 books of all time. Something you got in trouble for as a kid. I'll never forget. My mom says this story all the time. I don't even remember. I don't know if I was 3 or 4. She said I was probably trying to get attention because my brother was just born. Somehow I got my hands on strawberry sauce, like to make strawberry milk. And I put it all over her white carpet. And she walked in and I was literally rubbing it into the white carpet. And she was so mad at me. I don't remember that, but that's the story I've been told. So that is definitely something I got in trouble for as a kid. Something I struggle with. You guys know I really struggle with, I would say, I was going to say anxiety, but honestly, it's been a lot better. I struggle with organization. Like, hence, I'm filming this right now to post right now. I was so proud of myself. All December, all of January, I had everything pre-filmed up to go for the month. I'm trying to get back into that, but I'm also trying to be lenient on myself. It is a new job. I am going through a lot right now, big transition. Hopefully, that's definitely something I struggle with, is like organization, time management. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Why did I start my YouTube channel? I started my YouTube channel in 2020 to feel like I was part of a community. I started it in, I forget if it was April or May. So I'm literally I either hit 3 years or I'm about to hit 3 years. And yeah, I was, binge watching a lot of Netflix, Hulu, TV shows, and I was like, I can't. And I started watching YouTube. And I was already watching YouTube, but not as much. I was only here and there. And I started watching these channels, and I was like, I love this. I'm connecting with real people. It's not just some actresses on a screen. And then I said, why not do this for myself? And I was getting, FabFitFun, and I had signed up for CauseBox. So I was like, I'm going to start unboxing channels. Those seem pretty easy. And then you guys know I've been branching out. I've been loving doing other new things. But that's exactly why I started my YouTube channel. And I've been loving it. And I love you guys so much. I do have a little community and I love it. I am allergic to amoxicillin. That is the next question. What are you allergic to? Amoxicillin. I only know because it's something I have to tell my doctor. It happened when I was little. You'd have to ask my mom. And I'm allergic to kiwi. And I only know that, again, it happened when I was little. I was like 2 or 3. My mom said I had like a strawberry kiwi drink. And then I literally took a nap on the couch. And she said when she went to go pick me up to bring me to bed, my lips were blue. And she was scared. And they do say people sometimes grow out of allergies. But when I was like 13, so like 10 years later, my lips were swelling. And I say now like Kylie Jenner lips. But back then, I don't even think Kylie Jenner was alive yet. And my mom's like, why are your lips swelling like that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I went to go put chapstick on. And I was like, let me see that chapstick. And it turns out it was like a tropical kiwi chapstick. So she's like, wow, okay, so you're still allergic to kiwi. I've never like tested it again. Well, actually, I'm lying. In high school, so I was probably like 17. So this is 5 years later after that. I did a hotel stay with some friends. This was for school. It was like a school field trip we did. And so one of the girls had like a kiwi body wash in the shower. And I didn't even use it, guys. And I think it just being like the hot, steamy air, I broke out in hives. So I'm very sensitive to kiwi, and I've never tested it or touched it since. I will say, though, Joe will drink like a kiwi drink, and he'll chew kiwi gum. And, I mean, we don't make out or after or anything. But I have, like, kissed him, like, give him a pet kiss. I don't, like, force him to brush his teeth. Because I'm not allergic, like, with peanut butter where it's, like, really bad. And nothing's ever happened from it. So, so I am still really allergic to kiwi because I forgot. My first job where I cashiered, one time I touched a kiwi because, they sell produce. It was a grocery store. And the person forgot to put it in a produce bag. And I was like, oh, it's just the skin. And I touched it, put it in his bag. I'm like, if he doesn't care, I touch it. Obviously, put it without a produce bag. And I got wicked itchy and broke out in hives. So then after that, I started grabbing one of the plastic bags and picking it up with the plastic bag. And the customers were even like, oh, I don't care. And I went, no, I care. I'm allergic. So it's been a while. Probably close to 10 years again since I've ever like touched a kiwi or tried anything, but I don't need to try. It's okay. I can live without kiwi. I can live without a strawberry kiwi beverage. So yeah, I just gotta be careful when I go to like bars mostly, because sometimes they'll have like tropical drinks and stuff. But other than that, it's not that big of a deal. I'm lucky because there are definitely some serious allergies out there. Did I play any sports growing up? No, I did ballet when I was very, very little, and that was it. I am not an athletic person. Clearly, I'm a big-bodied person, not a fan of sports. That doesn't mean anything. I could have been a fan of it when I was little, but no, I was never a fan of sports. Watching it, playing it, none of it. Weirdest dream I've ever had. I've definitely had some weird ones. I just had one the other day, so I'm just going to talk about this one. It's not the weirdest, but it's the only one coming to mind right now. But I just had a dream that my mom inherited a house, and it was 3 apartments. It's the house she lives in. She inherited that house, and she would one day actually technically inherit it. My grandmother owns it, but she co-owns it. So in this dream, my mom was the sole owner, where in the future, when that happens, my mom is not the only owner. And then she was like letting me pick an apartment. She was like, Taylor, pick an apartment, you can move in. And I was so excited because my grandma's apartment has a huge, beautiful eat-in kitchen. She also has a huge, beautiful walk-in closet. Newly renovated bathroom. So I was like, I'll take that one. And my mom was like, are you sure? It's only 2-bedroom, where the other 2 are 3-bedroom. And I said, I can deal with 2-bedroom if I got a walk-in closet and a huge kitchen like hers. And me and Joe were like moving, and we were so excited to start like the next phase of our lives. I don't know. I love this place. You guys know I was really excited when I moved in here. It's definitely where I'm going to be very long term. I don't see myself moving for quite a while because I moved back to back for a long time. I do see us starting a family here because we do have an extra room. But eventually I want to own my own house. And I know obviously that dream wasn't me being a homeowner, but it feels like it's my own home. You know, that's the closest I've ever gotten because my grandmother does own it. So we are allowed to have dogs. I had a dog when I lived with my mom. Now I can't have a dog. You know, that's the only thing about renting is you're like very much in control of what they want you to do. In my mom's house, I was able to paint the walls where here I'm not. You know, I wouldn't have these beige walls if I had that choice. There are certain things I wish I could do, renovate, like, you know, things like that, to have like my dream home. So, I think that's what that dream was about. Because it's sad that in my dream, I can't even own my own home. I inherited, it's like an apartment still, but my mom would be the landlord. You know what I mean? So I would have very free reign. And sometimes I miss that. I do miss living with my mom only because of that. Like, because it never felt like it was a landlord. You know what I mean? Where now I do have to like think about that. So yeah, that was like the way, like my brother didn't even exist. My mom was just like, oh, pick an apartment. And then she went the other 2 to like my cousins. And yeah, superpower I'd have. I think this is what Charmaine said too, teleportation. Because even though I know how to drive, still not a fan. I would rather teleport. And it would be awesome because I could go to Europe. I could go to Canada. I could go visit some Charmaine. I could go see the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, they need to figure that out because it would be nice to just snap my fingers and be somewhere. We wouldn't need cars anymore. There wouldn't be gas anymore. Oh, that would solve so many problems. Worst fashion trend. I don't know, because things come back, so I don't even want to say anything. Like, I was never into wide leg pants, and now they're back again, and here I am catching myself buying. I don't have wide leg pants, but I don't have skinny jeans anymore. I'm trying to work towards wide leg pants. Like gachos, I would say that's like kind of an ugly trend, but who knows, they might come back. I used to wear gachos back in the day, so I don't really like to knock on that because even though I could say I never see myself wearing that, and then boom, 10 years from now it's in style, and I'm like, I kind of want to try that. I'm always into trying new things, so I don't really have an answer for that. I don't like when people dress half naked because I know that can be a trend sometimes, and it's like, and what was it? No, it wasn't the 90s. Was it early 2000s where girls used to show their thong and that was like really in? I would say that is a bad fashion trend. First celebrity crush. I don't remember. I don't like the obvious ones come to mind. You know, Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, Johnny Depp, even though he's older, could be a little weird, but I loved him in Pirates of the Caribbean. I love Patrick Dempsey when I was watching not 50 Shades of Grey. Oh my God. Grey's Anatomy. And he's an older gentleman, but I can't think. Probably maybe Zac Efron. High School Musical days when I was younger. Or like the Jonas Brothers, you know, that kind of era. Not me, but I have younger friends. They were like obsessed with Justin Bieber. And then weirdest thing I believed as a kid. I don't know, Santa and the Easter Bunny. We were talking about that the other day. It's like weird things that your parents tell you and like you believe it until you're an adult and you're like, oh my God, that's not real. You know what I mean? And one thing is my mom always told me it was illegal to have the lights on in the car because I used to want to leave the light on so I could read a book. And she'd be like, that's illegal. And I only found out that wasn't illegal a few years ago. Like me and my brother were driving in the car with his girlfriend. Actually, no, I'm lying. my brother and his girlfriend were driving the car, and she went to go turn on the light, and my brother went to go shut it off. And he's like, that's illegal. And she's like, no, it's not. And then one day we were all there for Sunday dinner, and my brother was talking about it, and I said, that's not illegal? And Britt started laughing, my brother's girlfriend. She's like, no. And mom was like, oh, I always just said that because the light's annoying. You guys tell me if you have any stories like that. So yeah, for the very long time, I thought it was illegal to have lights on in your car while driving. I'm trying to think if anything else comes to mind. There are like little like, and I think that's a cultural thing, like little like old wise tales, like, oh, if you have your feet on a cold ground, you'll get sick. You know what I mean? Like some weird, silly things like that. And then there is 2 more questions here. Since my mask fell off instead of me struggling. My favorite movie. I say all the time, guys, you know I love like rom-coms. I don't know why, but How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days always sticks out to me with, I can't even think of her name right now. Oh my God. And I've watched that movie a million. It's Matthew McConaughey and Goldie Hawn's daughter. Oh my God, you guys are probably screaming it at me. I love that movie. I love The Wedding Planner. Oh my God, I love The Wedding Planner with J-Lo. A Walk to Remember. Those are the kind of Pretty Woman. Those kind of movies I could watch over and over again. Even though you know the ending, they still like capture your attention. And then favorite music. I'm not a big music person. I listen more to audiobooks. But honestly, I'm very eclectic. I can go from like Eminem to Rihanna to Taylor Swift to me it's more top 40. Like honestly, because that's what I listen to. I listen to the radio. So when I do listen to music, so it's like whatever's usually on the radio is what's on my head, you know. So it's usually like Adele, Beyonce. It's very like what you hear on the radio. Like I don't know very obscure bands or anything like that. Cher's probably like the weirdest like anomaly because she's not like, you know, nowadays kind of thing. But yeah, that is the 25 questions. I hope you guys got to know me a little bit more. You guys really seem to like these sit down question videos. I have a special one coming out next week and the following week. I'm in collabs for the next 2 weeks, so definitely check out those Mask Mondays. Wow, this one got long. I apologize, guys. But if you enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. You guys know I do Mask Mondays every Monday. Book unboxings and hauls every Tuesday, Wednesday. Book club videos on Thursday, vlogs on Friday, outfits of the week on Saturday, and self-care Sundays. That is the schedule, so I do post 7 days a week. If any of that sounds good, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell next time so you're notified next time I upload. Don't forget, I will be linking Charmaine, Erica Conjure, and Alice I Love Being a Korean down below. Definitely go check them out. And in that collab I'm in 2 weeks, not next week, the week after, it is an autism-based collab. It is different channels every Monday. I think there's a special hashtag they're using. They might be making a playlist. I will try to put some information down below. Definitely go check out their videos so you guys can learn a little bit more about autism. Because April is Autism Awareness / Acceptance Month. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my video. Because some people call it Awareness Month. Some people call it Acceptance Months. I won't go into that now. We're already in 33 minutes. But it is something near and dear to my heart because you guys know I work in the special needs department. I definitely work with kids that have ASD. My old job, I was specifically in an ASD classroom. So yeah, definitely go check them out. And yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Be safe.